want to build a classification algorithm around that intuition, that nearby things should have the same class. And that's what nearest neighbor classification does. So one nearest neighbor algorithm, the way it operates is for a given data point, you find the closest, the nearest training example, and you take its class. So for this point right there, this blue would be the closest training example, and this would be assigned to the blue class. Now, note that you're not just assigning the class blue to a single testing point, not just to that point right there. You would be assigning blue to a whole set of points, to a whole region in space, where the points are closer to this blue example than they are to anything else, to any other training example. So there is an entire little cell that will be colored blue because of this one training example. And every training example is going to have a little cell around it. And if you take a collection of all of those cells, it's called a Voronoi tessellation, where each cell is a region, a set of points that are closer to its center, to the example, than they are to any other training example in the data set. So each one of these tiles is a Voronoi cell. The points on the boundary, on the black lines, are the points that are equidistant, same distance from two different training examples. So that defines the boundary between the Voronoi cells. Now, these are the cells. The decision boundary then is simply it goes between the cells that are associated with one class and the cells that are associated with another class. So it's going to it's going to hug the boundaries of the Voronoi cells between the red and the blue cells. So that's going to be the decision boundary for this particular data set if we're using a one nearest neighbor classifier. Now you look at this and you realize that for such a simple algorithm, admit it, nearest neighbor algorithm, it's really simple, right? You just look at the nearest neighbor and take its class. For such a simple algorithm, this is a really pretty elaborate, pretty complicated decision boundary. That's a lot more complicated than anything we've seen in this class up until this point. So it's a lot more complicated than what you would get with naive Bayes or with decision trees or with support vector machines. This is a highly complex decision boundary, and it's kind of impressive to get a decision boundary like that for a very simple method.